We quickly learned, number one, LA is expensive. Number two, you are the most poor you'll ever be in your 20s, early 20s, or even late teens. This is the time to shoot your shot. Shout out Santiago. Santiago saved up money from the crystal merchant. That was my equivalent to the crystal merchant. And I was like, this is...
We left LA because it was like, there's a lot of like, it just got crazy. Like after the pandemic, it was, it's not the same. Yeah. Like we literally had to step over a homeless guy on our steps because the pursuit of women, and we're in an abstinence period where it's just one full year of just, monk mode. Mode. So a full year, because we're in Okinawa one day and we're like, you know what, let's give it one full year of nothing. Like no alcohol, no like cigars, just basically like no fun, I guess.
To 14 different countries in 5 months.
All right, so here we are. Fucking Cape Town, guys.
Yes.
Cape Town.
We're out here.
Yes.
Just for people, so people know, we talk about you guys a lot.
Yes.
But I like to say, I think in the past year or so, you guys, very impressive. You guys, over the past 12 months, I think, created a multi-six-figure business, I'd say. Mm-hmm. Traveled around like 9 countries. And now we're just like chilling in Cape Town.
What do you have to say for yourself? Oh, man. So, yeah, I think, because you guys are such a figurehead, honestly, on our channel, if you guys could talk about a little bit more about like your background. Chris, if you want to get us started by like talking about how you guys met and kind of up to the business, that would be awesome. And then Paolo, if you don't mind kind of getting the more recent news from when you guys started the business till now. So we'd love to hear a little bit more about it.
Yeah.
So how did we meet? Oh yeah, so Paolo and I think we actually went to the same middle school together and high school, but we didn't really know each other. But essentially we met through a friend of a friend. I think we went to the club. And then we met through a friend of a friend. I think we both vaped at the time, funny enough, which we don't do now. And I think we were discussing possibly like sharing vaping materials and even starting a vape business. Which thankfully actually didn't end up going through, but I think that's how we got to meet each other. And then we, started hanging out, tried the vape business, and then one day we were sitting in a parking lot in Walnut Creek, and we're like, you ever just wanted to move to LA? And we both said, yeah, you know what? I actually do want to move out. Let's do it. And then we decided, okay, let's move out within like 6 months or something. And then
just for context too, how old were you guys at this point?
At that point, we were, I know,
19?
yeah, about 19. Yeah.
That's crazy to me because I was kind of sheltered growing up.
Yeah.
And I can't even imagine trying to live on my own at 19. So for you guys to move to a completely different state is fucking amazing.
Yeah, it was a journey, definitely.
Yeah. Shit was crazy.
I'd say something I really want to highlight to the audience too as we're going through this story is we've heard a lot of these stories, right? Mm-hmm. And I think the thing is it's really cool to see where you are today because of what you've gone through. Mm-hmm. And we really enjoy the stories. We'll get to it, going through the 99-cent store or doing your 9-to-5 job or living in a non-optimal place before you got your own house, So that'd be really cool. But anyway, so you guys get to California and then what's happening there? What are you two doing in California?
Yeah, so we were both in the Bay Area. So we grew up in the Bay Area our whole lives in the city called Concord. Shout out Concord.
Hey, let's go.
Then we moved to Los Angeles with our friend Josh. And we basically packed all our shit. We saved up for 2 months. And then we ended up moving to a city called Reseda in the San Fernando Valley of LA. And it was a struggle. We didn't have any jobs lined up. We literally just went there, saw 3 apartments, picked one, and then dropped all our shit and just went over and got the apartment.
So you guys, when you left the Bay, you didn't even have an apartment lined up?
No, we just had 3 that we were looking at.
You just put your shit in the car, let's go look at no place to live. So wait, did you guys have a place to sleep the first night?
Well, yeah. Well, we had 3 places lined up that we went to go see. We didn't pack our stuff yet, but we didn't have any jobs. All of us just did DoorDash. So
DoorDash.
yeah, we did DoorDash for years, and that's what held it down. But yeah, so we saw 3 apartments. We saw one that we really liked, and then we ended up picking that one. And then we drove back to the Bay Area, grabbed all our stuff, and then that's it. We made that move to LA.
So when you guys made the move to LA, you just knew that you wanted to get out of the Bay, right? Like, did you guys have like, all right, we're gonna go there and figure it out, or we're gonna go there and this is what we're going to do? Like, what was the thought process by that point in time?
Yeah, I think we just wanted to go there and just make something out of it for ourselves. Like, we just wanted to get rich as fuck, honestly. Yeah. And yeah, the pursuit of women as well. I think that was the main part.
You gotta keep it real, right? You gotta
Yeah.
keep it real.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely a big aspect of it. But yeah, we went to LA. We kind of had some idea of what we wanted to try to do, but obviously we did that, and we quickly learned, number one, LA is expensive. Number two, you are the most poor you'll ever be in your 20s, early 20s, or even late teens. And number three, just the power of, kind of like your circle, I guess. I would say that, like the influence of your circle, and just even like how much it takes to like just know yourself and then master your vices.
It's really interesting.
There were a lot of vices.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to hear, because like this year you guys have given up a lot of, if not all of your vices.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting to see that transformation, because let's see, 19. So that was like 7 years ago? Was that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
about 7-8 years ago.
It's crazy to see the transformation too, because we'll talk more about this through the podcast. Like, I remember back then, you guys would come to me for like advice. And I was telling Chris the other day, it's funny because now I come to you guys. Like, you're effectively our closest business mentors and advisors. Actually, you know what? They are on the honorary board of advisors for Growwise.
Yes,
There you go.
absolutely.
Board
We got
of
it on-
advisors.
We got it on recording, so that means
Exactly.
it's real.
Okay, anyway, so you guys you're there, you're doing DoorDash, and then, yeah, so at some point, you guys are still doing 9 to 5. At this point, are you guys thinking about a business yet, or are you just kind of like grinding, trying to make ends meet? Like, what's the plan at this point?
Yeah, I think we always wanted to start a business, but the first few years of LA, we were like really hard. Like, it was like, we were just grinding. We were selling our plasma. So we would go to this place called, what was the name of it? It was on like Tampa and Reseda. Griffles, yeah. We
Selling
went to
plasma?
Griffles.
Is that like, that's not blood, right?
No, yeah, it was blood plasma. So we would get like, I don't remember how much we would get, but we would get like,
75 the first time.
yeah, $75 the first time, and then
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And then it goes down.
yeah.
It's like 50 the next time, and then.
Well, why did you need to sell plasma?
DoorDash was like, some of the hours were like really messed up, and you couldn't like always make a bunch of money, and we needed to come up with rent. So we're like, all right, we need to do whatever it takes. So selling our plasma was one of those things.
That's so crazy to think about. I mean, we're not going to get into like actual numbers, but thinking about what you make today versus like trying to sell like your not body, but like your internals.
Your body.
Yeah, your body.
We were also prostitutes. No, just kidding.
On the record, no.
But yeah, that's crazy, man. To think about, you guys were trying to make just $75, right?
Yeah.
And now, that's relatively small compared to what we make. But anyway, cool. Okay, so selling plasma, and then
Yeah, so we ended up just doing DoorDash for a few years, and we couldn't really find like actual jobs that just held it down for a few years. And I ended up finding this real estate gig. Was doing like private money financing, and Chris ended up doing was property management.
Yeah, so essentially, funny enough, we were living with our friend Josh at the time, and actually his friend, who's also our friend Aniel, and a couple other guys would stop by the house every now and then. But essentially, me and Josh, for a brief period, went back to school. Funny enough, it was like a 3-month school for like video effects and like media. So we actually ended up doing that, and then we actually did see the guys who made the song Black Beatles at our school, borrowing a studio. It's like they're called like Ray Shremmerd or something like that. So yeah, we actually went back to school, learned VFX, and kind of came back out of that and started doing like freelance video effects work. We actually did some work. Shouts out Garrett, hooked us up with a tech company. They needed some work done, and we did some work for them and did some other work here and there.
Wow, dang.
and at this point, you guys are still in Reseda.
Yeah.
Okay, because I remember at some point you guys moved to North Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
So why did you guys move from Reseda to North Hollywood?
I think that apartment that we had in Reseda, we were there for, how long were we there for? Like, it was for sure over a year.
Maybe year and a half.
Yeah.
Actually, probably year and a half.
Yeah, we threw a lot of parties there, and I think they hated us by the time we ended up leaving. So
Again, like, I keep harping on this, but you guys were like 19, right?
at this point, I think like around 2021.
Yeah.
But even then, like,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I was just a big baby. 'Cause, like, I didn't really get out of the house until like mid-20s, but
Yeah.
super impressive to me.
Yeah, it was very
Right.
fun. Like
So you-
those beginning years.
So basically, neighbors were like, "Get the fuck out of here."
No, I think we just wanted to move somewhere else after Reseda, and we saw this apartment that we really liked, and it was in North Hollywood, and we ended up just moving there.
Okay.
Dang. So I guess one of my questions that I've been thinking about asking too is like, you guys were in a kind of a struggle place, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of other people who are in this place, and it's really easy to give up. So I guess what would be your piece of advice to somebody going through this kind of tough time to get through the tough time and to kind of become a better version of themselves?
That's a good question. I think for me, I think my advice is just watch your association and continue to grow. So always just like read as much as you can. If you can't read, just like, I mean, if you don't want to read, listen to Audible. Like just download Audible on your phone and just listen to audiobooks. Like every morning, just, you know, always try to feed your mind and grow your association and don't hang around fucking bums. Because if you hang around losers, you'll become a loser.
When you guys, I mean, reading has been kind of a big part of all of our lives in the past year or two.
Yeah.
I did not grow up reading. Like even in college, I barely read. When did reading, like, when did you guys pick up reading?
I think I picked up reading a little bit in high school. I think I read a couple self-development books in high school, but obviously, like, I didn't have a business, so it wasn't super applicable. But I think I picked it up here and there. I'd maybe read 1 to 3 books per year, so it wasn't really
In high
crazy.
school?
Yeah, in high school,
Okay.
just 1 to 3 books, and then in college, when I went through my degen phase, maybe 1 per year. But then I think once we moved out and then we started door dashing. Obviously, shouts out Audible. We were just blasting Audible in between our little deliveries. So when we'd be waiting for food, just play Audible, or funny enough, play chess. So it was just Audible, chess, deliver food. Audible, chess, deliver food, and just kept running that up while we tried to figure out what the plan would be, I think.
That's interesting because I actually thought the book thing came from when we all started watching Iman. Like Iman was later on, right? I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Iman, for me, I think I first saw him in 2021. Yeah.
Yeah.
Iman, if you're watching, by the way, we're in Cape Town because you kind of inspired that in a way.
Yeah.
But Iman did recommend a lot of good books that we read.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I think the book A Weak Habit came from Iman.
What's your favorite book, real fast, from this book a week that you guys have been reading?
that's a tough question because throughout different phases of the business journey, there's different books that helped more than other books.
Yeah.
But I'd say, let's see. Fuck, that's a hard question. You go first while I think.
Yeah, my favorite book will be a cop-out. It's always going to be The Alchemist, because I just feel like if you accept the journey, then all the other books will come that you need. But from like a actual like useful standpoint, I really like John D. Rockefeller's book and also Sam Walton's book. And even Elon Musk's book was really good, both of them actually. So I really like the biographies. I think a lot of these millionaire books are like, I don't know, they seem very repetitive and they leave out a lot of things that you kind of only see like in like the details of watching someone build a company. So I really like the biographies and autobiographies.
Yeah, I think one of my favorites is The Compound Effect and Think and Grow Rich.
Oh yeah.
I think Think and Grow Rich is definitely up there. And also this book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. It's like really, really good in terms of like, I guess just positive thinking. I think that's helped a lot throughout the years. But yeah, I think now I like just rereading a ton of books.
Yeah.
You were saying earlier association. I think you mean like people you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because like Kayla knows this. Other than Kayla, the only other people I would want to be around are you two. And I think both of you have taught me a lot, have helped me grow as a person. like Paolo's just, no matter what, you're always like, I know that you have my back, you know, like no matter what it is, like I know you'll be there, right? And then Chris has this like never like shattering optimism, no matter what happens. And it's just cool because you guys are like always there, in my opinion. So thanks for being there.
Definitely. I would have to agree with that sentiment too. I mean, you guys met me more recently, but I think the bond that, you know, all four of us have built over the last few years has been really amazing, honestly. Like, I consider you guys, like, of course you're our friends because, you know, I knew you guys through him, but like, I would consider you my friends as well, because I feel like I've learned so much from you guys, and just seeing you guys grow over the last 2 years has been like phenomenal, honestly.
I'd have to go as far as inspiring.
Absolutely. Yeah. So.
Yeah, we don't want to take all the credit. You guys, we've seen your guys' growth, and your guys' growth has been amazing as well. I don't know if...
Only because of you guys. Yeah.
All
But,
right.
okay.
Hamming it up.
I was just gonna say that it's funny because we always just say that Greg, you're a big brother, and then Kayla, you're a little sister. So
That's good.
That's awesome. I love
All right,
that.
so we're in Reseda now. Are you guys still door dashing at this point? Oh no, property management, and then you are
Yeah, so I was doing like hard money lending.
hard money lending.
And
Okay,
I had
okay,
my like real estate and mortgage license.
okay.
Yeah.
You got your real estate and mortgage license,
Yeah.
so you're licensed in California.
Yeah.
Let's go. Okay. So I think we're approaching the pandemic now, right? And if I remember correctly, as the pandemic was approaching, you guys were starting to think of like business ideas, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is a kind of important part of the journey, because when we see successful people like Iman and Alex, like, oh, acquisition.com and like Agency Navigator, like they're already set, right? But what we've learned in the past 8 to 10 months is we had to try a lot of different things. And we know that the current thing is not going to be the final thing, right?
Yeah.
So as we're entering the pandemic, what kind of things were you guys trying to do and you actually tried to do but didn't work? What are those type of things that happen?
Yeah. The pandemic, I think when it first started, like everyone else, we were like, what the fuck is going on? This is just crazy. But I think the first thing that we started is, was it the ATM business or drop shipping?
I think it was the ATM business first.
Okay,
and then we tried drop shipping.
Okay, yeah, it was the ATM business. We named it Lux Reserve, and we bought this ATM course from this guy. I think his name was Thomas.
Yeah.
Shout out Thomas. Yeah.
Shout out Thomas.
And yeah, as you know, ATM business during the pandemic is probably not the smartest business decision. So we pivoted to doing like drop shipping, and we bought this course from Bia Haza and.
Yeah, and then Paolo and I tried to sell women's products, which
As men.
as men. So that's, well, it went as well as it could. Yeah, we tried selling a bunch of other stuff, and then we kind of realized that with the drop shipping model, you essentially like will sell a product, and eventually it'll either die out or the store or you get banned or whatever, and then you have to pivot. So we kind of didn't like the idea of building a business and then having all of that progress disappear when you switch to a new product. The way around that essentially is you have to white label a product, so actually build a brand, and then ideally you get longevity through either selling on Amazon or other platforms. And we're kind of like, oh, we don't really want to go that route, so we had to figure out what else to do. I think in 2020 the main thing that really worked was, of course, stocks. That was the thing that I was in for a couple years before, and then obviously opportunity came. Hard money did really well for you, and stocks.
Really? Because
yeah.
in the pandemic, there are probably a lot of real estate transactions.
Yeah.
Because the rates were low, mortgage rates were low.
Yeah, I was popping
Yeah.
off.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
So yeah, those are the things that worked. Also, we Instacarted our butts into the
Oh,
ground
yeah.
in 2020.
Like you were delivering.
Yeah. We Instacarted because essentially we needed more cash for stocks. So we would just work so hard Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday, and even sometimes Friday we would Instacart, and then Monday through Friday 9 to 5, and then just keep doing that.
Monday to Friday, 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Wow.
What was the deal with, you guys did DoorDash before, right?
Yeah.
So why did you guys switch?
Yeah, so essentially, I think what happened was we moved to our apartment in North Hollywood, and I was door dashing, and I remember I dashed for that's what they call it, dash, for 3 hours, and I made $10, and I was like, why is it so slow right now? It was really slow, and I was like, okay, this is not stable, this is not working. Paolo had already transitioned out of DoorDash, and I was like, okay, well, this is not gonna cut it, I need to do something, and then I applied for the job, and then got that property management job, and then just kept doing that.
Right, but then you guys did Instacart again.
Yeah.
Because Instacart pays more than DoorDash?
Yeah, Instacart
Yeah.
was actually really fun.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Instacart was fun. Like we would split up the tasks. So he would like bag up the produce, and then I'd run up like just the dry food and like
Yeah.
macaroni and
That's
shit.
awesome.
And like it was really fun actually.
Teamwork.
Yeah.
I was listening to Cody Sanchez recently, and she said like people don't realize that 95% of successful people is from grit, not intelligence. Not that you guys are not intelligent. You guys are very intelligent.
Yeah.
But also, I think the thing that makes you dangerous is your grit. Like when you hear stories like this, when selling plasma and like just running around the grocery store trying to get food for people,
Yeah.
like that's. I think not a lot of people would have the fortitude to do that.
No,
Yeah.
hell no.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
I also want to shout out one of my favorite books called Grit.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There
They
you
actually,
go.
that was the main lesson, was that like they looked at a bunch of like high performing people, and then they determined like what was the one thing that you could attribute success to. And the one underlying thing was actually grit above like intelligence or like natural like talent and all that type of stuff. It ended up being grit. Shouts out Angela Duckworth for that book.
Yeah, that's why there's a lot of like stupid ass successful people out there. You know, you don't need to be like really like smart. You know,
Yeah.
I think grit is definitely
Dang.
one of the biggest things you need.
Yeah. So you guys basically gritted your way through Instacart, through your guys' 9 to 5s. What was the point when you guys made the pivot into, okay, we're not doing 9 to 5s anymore, or, you know, we need to make a new decision for our lives? Where was there a single moment that you guys both had where you guys thought about it, or was it kind of a something that happened over time?
I think it did happen over time in the beginning because we were both still working our 9 to 5s, and I think it really ended when we made the decision to move to Las Vegas. So when we bought our first property in Las Vegas, and after that, obviously we couldn't really work for other companies anymore because we were in a different state. So yeah,
Well,
I think
that's interesting too, right? Because what year was the 2021? I think the house.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So that was still coming out of the pandemic, right? So, what motivated the move from LA? You guys came from the Bay,
yeah.
moved to LA, to Reseda, then to North Hollywood, and then something triggered your mind, was like, let's go to Vegas, right?
Yeah.
And also, before you answer that, this is another thing I've learned too, because most of my life I was very conservative. And I think something you guys taught me is to take more risk, basically, ironically. And I remember you guys were shopping for houses, and you'd send me links, and you'd be like, hey, like, what do you think about this house? And you'd send me 5-bedroom houses. And I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, there's like 2 of them. I was like, cool, like, what are you guys gonna do with the house? They're like, oh, just ball out, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not until same thing with like when you were doing stocks, like they're doing moves where I'm like, oh shit, I wouldn't have done that, you know? But now looking back, I think that really helped me become take more risk, which I don't think is a bad thing, especially when you're younger, because you can afford to take risk.
Yeah, I agree. I like risk too. So yeah, I think
Shout out risks.
yeah.
Shout out
Yeah.
risk, shout out grit.
Wait,
Yeah.
okay, so the thought process between why did you guys move to Vegas?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were looking at properties on Redfin, and we thought, you know, we should buy a house. And then we started looking in like Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And then we saw what we could get for $500,000 in Los Angeles, and it was like dog shit. Like at that point, it was awful. We were like, what? This is crazy. And I think I made a side comment, and I was like, hey, we should just look like in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And then Chris actually was like, all right, like, and he started looking through houses in Vegas, and then we saw what you could get for like $500,000 in Las Vegas versus Los Angeles, and it was a lot better. It was much better.
It's funny because actually Paolo joked about Vegas, and I was like, ah. And then I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And then I like looked into it, and then I brought it back up. I was like, bro, we should move to Vegas, and he was like, what? And I was like, bro, you came up with the idea. So yeah, that's why. I think the goal with Vegas though, I think we were definitely planning on starting a business, right? Because we were already doing drop shipping, ATM, and we kind of knew that essentially from 20 to about that age, we were around 22, 23, we decided like, okay, we need money. And then around that time, we had built up a nest egg through like stocks and stuff. And we're like, all right, well, got to shoot your shot, right? And I think the highest probability of success was like full focus on it, because we tried the 9 to 5, work a 9 to 5, right? And then 5 to 9, try to build a business. And then Saturday, Sunday, and Friday, Instacart to get more money for the business stocks and all that. So we were really like 9 to 5. And then after that, build a business and then do that Monday through Friday. And then Saturday and Sunday, Instacart. And then Friday, also Instacart if we could. And then we did that for like many, many months straight. I think we did like at least, maybe 5, 6, 7 months straight of like just doing that. And we're like, okay, this is the time to shoot your shot. Shouts out Santiago. Santiago saved up money from the crystal merchant. That was my equivalent to the
True.
crystal merchant. And I was like, listen, like, I learned a lot here.
Santiago.
It's time to shoot my shot. Like
Yeah.
we already knew, I think that we're both going to do a business. We're like, you worked at your job. I worked at my job. We became very successful at our companies. Maybe let's just shoot this shot. We got money. So
Well,
Yeah,
actually, this is
it's awesome.
interesting. You have a nest egg. At the time, with what you knew, why deploy it into a house? Was there any other option? Like, okay, we have a nest. Like, was it like, no, we're putting this into a house? Like, why not use it for like rent and like maybe something else or reinvest because stocks were doing well for you at the time? Like, what was like, we need to buy a house? What was that thought process like?
The houses were just really nice in Las Vegas, and we're like, all right, we need to buy one.
yeah.
And good thing we did, because interest rates
Yeah,
now
yeah.
are
Yeah.
crazy.
That's an
amazing point.
7%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little more about the trenches though. Like, where did you live when you first got to Vegas? Let's bring that that in.
That we have
Before
to talk
Flam-
about.
before Flamingo.
We have to talk about that.
All right. So we ended up leaving Los Angeles, North Hollywood. We bid farewell to the trenches in LA because we left LA because it was like there's a lot of like it just got crazy. Like after the pandemic, it was
Yeah.
Homeless
it's not the
people,
same. Yeah.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we literally had to step over a homeless guy on our steps because
Oh, man.
our apartment was like in front of a main street and there was a bus stop there.
Yeah.
So then there was a homeless guy sleeping like right in front of our steps. So then it was normal for us to step over him to get to work. So we would just step
Crazy.
over him, and then our cars would get broken into like probably like 3 times, like
No
over
way.
3 times. Yeah, our
Really?
cars got broken into multiple
Yeah.
times in the garage.
Oh, in the garage.
Yeah, we're like, what the fuck? This shit's supposed to be safe.
Yeah.
Like,
That's crazy.
yeah, so we ended up just packing all our shit, and we didn't have a house. We
Fuck.
or we didn't even have like a pre-approval. Like we didn't have anything. We had like no plan. We just
Yeah.
packed our shit, and then
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
moved to Las Vegas to this place
Fuck.
called Siegel Suites. Shout out Siegel Suites on Fremont.
Shout
And,
out.
Shout out.
very very small studio with
Yeah.
a dog with
Aw.
promo.
Promo.
Shout out promo.
Like
Prometheus.
Yeah.
600-700 square feet or something.
It was tiny. It was,
It was
very
like maybe
very small.
400.
400 square
Oh,
feet
Yeah.
for you two
jeez.
and a dog.
Yeah.
Okay,
It was just
promo.
all of our shit in there, and then we were there. How long were we there for? It was like
We were there for, I want to say felt like at least a month.
yeah, at least a
Yeah.
month.
Okay.
Yeah.
And every single time we'd walk to our car, we'd see a few crackheads, and it just became normal. Like it was just,
Yeah.
it was crazy. But
Yeah.
I think the thing that really
Yeah.
got to me too, I think you mentioned like it wasn't well ventilated.
yeah,
I think you guys were saying like you had obviously an AC, right? Wait, what month is this actually? Is this summer?
That was in January.
Okay, so kind of coolish, right?
Yeah.
But I think you guys were saying how like you think the vent was on the outside where people were smoking crack. So basically they would blow into the vent and then it'd go into your house.
yeah, secondhand
Yeah.
crack smoke for sure. It was crazy, yeah.
Crazy.
And we would smell cigarettes and crack.
Damn.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
I think this is what like this is the first time. So after this, the house comes, right?
yeah,
And I think when I entered that house, I remember the first time I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Like, cause I saw you guys in Reseda in North Hollywood. I didn't see Siegel Suites, but I knew about it.
yeah.
But I walked into this house in Flamenco and I was like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
The house was really nice.
Yeah, it was a nice shock, like going from Siegel Suites, crack
Yeah.
smoke to, to
I mean, let's talk about the house. It's like 3 stories in a way.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually an interesting setup because you enter at
is.
like the 1.5 floor, I guess.
Yeah.
And then you come up and it opens into the kitchen living room area. But immediately when you make a right, it's supposed to be the living room, I guess. But you guys turned it into your home office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just like a vibe. You guys had like your, what do you call it? Like those canvases with
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
motivational quotes behind you. You had your like standing desk. You had this
Yeah.
big ass TV.
Yeah.
And that's where I guess you guys met Kayla as
Yeah,
well.
that's
Yeah.
true. That was
That's
the first
true.
time
That's
we
true.
had the TikTok pasta.
Oh, that was
That's
fire.
true.
Yeah,
That's
that
true.
is facts. That is facts.
All right, so you guys had a house. At this point, you guys are in Vegas. Oh wait, so yeah, what are you guys doing for income at this point?
Oh, it's funny. Yeah, no, we didn't have any income for this one.
So you bought a house. How did you close the house with?
You were still making money, right?
Oh, yeah.
You did like 1 month. You did like.
Yeah, actually, okay, yeah, I was still making money, but the way I was making money was like through commission.
Okay. hard
So
money.
yeah,
Okay,
it was through commission. So yeah, we had to find a way to get financing and ended up getting financing and
So you're in
we
Vegas.
got the house.
Have the house. Yeah. Oh, it's a 5-bedroom house, by the way. We forgot to mention that 5-bedroom house, just the two of you and promo and the dog. So you had some sort of income, but you must have been working on something, right? Like you guys were trying to start a business, or like what were you guys trying to do at the time?
I think we got a big ass whiteboard. I think the first thing that we did was
yes.
like we just furnished the house.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, so we got a big ass whiteboard. Every single like place that we stay, like whether it's like a apartment or a condo, we always make the living room the office because it's the biggest room usually, and the office is the most important
There
room,
you go.
at least from what
Yeah.
we think. And in that office, we always need a big ass whiteboard. So I think we invested in a whiteboard. It was like a glass board.
Yeah, it's really
and,
nice.
Yeah, it was massive. So we just wrote a bunch of like business ideas, and we kind of made this. What was it? It was like a
Tournament bracket.
it was
Yeah,
like a
tournament bracket.
Yeah.
Yeah, tournament bracket, and essentially weighed in on different business models, picked one, and then just ran it up. That's when the business was created. The house was stabilized. The goal with the house, by the way, since it was 5 bedrooms, was we would each get a master bedroom, and the other 3 bedrooms we wanted to turn one into like maybe a potential gym, one into a library, and then one into like a meditation room and get like a hyperbolic air chamber. And a bunch of other stuff in there. So the idea was to have a maximum efficiency household, and then just grind. And then that was the idea.
Do you mind sharing what won in that tournament bracket at the time? Like, what was the? You had like business models, right? And you're like,
Yeah.
boom, we're
Yeah.
trying this.
I know
So-
for sure one was Amazon FBA.
Yeah, it was Amazon
FBA was
FBA,
in there.
and then we ended up just going with a YouTube channel, like a faceless YouTube channel for finance.
For,
and
for
then-
those who don't understand, what's a faceless YouTube channel for finances? Like, what
Oh
was
yeah,
that?
it's called Wealth Gambit. So
Nice.
yeah, so basically we started the YouTube channel, and we had a mentor at that time who taught us about like YouTube and like how to start like faceless channels. So he ended up teaching us a lot, and we just implemented. He taught us outsourcing, so just like hiring from like the Philippines. So instead of just hiring one, we hired 5 people right away, which is not smart because our goal was like, you know what? Let's be massive finance YouTubers and just crush everyone.
Yeah.
We're gonna come for everyone, like like. So we were like super ambitious, and we ended up kind of just getting like pigeonholed in a way, like in this one specific business that we still invest in. We love SoFi. Shout out SoFi. But yeah, so we
Commander
just
Noto.
Commander
Yep.
Noto.
Yeah.
Just respect.
so after a while, we just we were making a ton of content, but it wasn't really bringing as much money in as we thought.
Are you guys still in Vegas at this point?
Yeah, we're
Okay,
we're
okay,
still in
okay.
Vegas. Yeah.
And at the time, you were thinking, oh, let's try to get a monetized YouTube channel. Is that like the ideal of how you were gonna make income?
Yeah, it was through AdSense. That
AdSense,
was
okay.
that was our main goal.
Okay.
Also, too, I think like with the YouTube channel, one of the main things was there was a bottleneck, which was essentially like it's very hard to outsource script writing, because obviously it's like the tone, the knowledge, no one's really gonna have that same group of knowledge, and if they are, why would they work for you if they know all these things about finance? So then you have to like train people how to do it, and then it's just like it's very hard to scale. I think YouTube also, like, I think we could definitely have pulled it off, but it would have taken 3 more years. I mean, like, even for example, Iman like didn't make a decent salary from his YouTube channel until like the 3rd or 4th year, and he monetized that through like selling a course, and we didn't want to sell a course at the time, so that's why we ultimately decided to pivot.
All right. So you guys are still in Vegas,
Yeah.
and then what happens next?
And then I think we gained 15 pounds because the Vegas food is so good. Like when you first move there, you're just like you just start eating everything. So we were eating like Raisin Canes and like all you could eat sushi. You showed us Goemon. And also you told us about curry zen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I could talk about the food all day. Yeah, we gained a lot of weight.
And also in 2020, the mindset was anything that doesn't make money is a waste of time. Working out is a waste of time. And so yeah, so we literally 2020 like built that mindset. We're like, that worked, so that means working out must be a waste of time.
Oh, man.
Just to work, it's just make money.
Wow.
Yeah, it turns out working out isn't a waste of time.
Yeah, no, that's interesting because now you guys are very into habits. I mean, I think I can speak for the three of you guys that you guys are into habits a lot. So when did the mindset shift change or happen when you're like, we need to change something about this. We need to have other habits that don't make us money, but maybe, help us out a little bit. Was that a conscious decision, or was that just kind of like, oh man, we're getting a little pudge. We need to do something about this.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of both. I think we're definitely getting we're getting bigger, and we're like, all right, we need to start working out and getting our shit together. And I think we read this book called Atomic Habits, which was a game changer.
For sure.
And you also, I think both of you gave us a journal for, it was Christmas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you gave us a
it
journal, so
was.
you actually
That's
started
true.
us onto the journaling
That's
habit.
funny.
And the journaling habit kind of snowballed into different habits, like writing your goals down, and
Yeah.
one big one was tracking your weight.
Oh,
So
okay.
we have this habit tracker that we're all a part of, and anytime anyone swipes and finishes a habit, we all get notified. So it was good.
Accountability.
Yeah, it was accountability, which is really
Yeah.
good. So,
That's awesome.
I would say Atomic Habits still in the top 5 for me
For sure.
of all books. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay. So where are we? We're in Vegas. Faces YouTube channel. What happens next?
Yeah, so I think we decided to just go on a world trip. We just wanted to live in a different country,
Just right. Wait. So
many different countries.
were you guys making money at this point?
No.
You're like, we're gonna buy a house. Okay, no income. We're gonna buy a house and we're gonna go travel the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, so yeah, we were actually not making any money. In fact, we were losing money.
Oh man.
But yeah, basically we were in Vegas and we're like, okay, you know what? Vegas is cool. How's the other world? And I forgot, you know what it was? We were working in our office and we had an Apple TV. And then it plays those landscapes, right?
That's true.
So every day we're just like, man, that looks really cool, right? And then I remember one day we'd be on Apple TV, if you touch a button twice, it'll show you the location. And so we would look, oh, that's a cool location. And we're like, oh, and we just look at Airbnb and we're like, that's cheaper than the mortgage. What the heck, for a month? It's actually cheaper than the mortgage. So essentially we're like, okay, the business is online, so we can build it anywhere. Traveling is actually cheaper than living in the US. We're young, we have money. We should just build the business abroad. And on top of that, I love Vegas, but Vegas was, it was getting a little bit crazy for us. We're easily distracted. We are very disciplined at being away from things that distract us, but we have basically no discipline with avoiding things when they're near us. If there's a vice in our house, we're probably gonna, interact with it. So basically we're like, you know what, let's travel the world. Let's just chill, detox, get rid of some of these extra calories that we've been adding on. Vegas food is too good. And so then, we just looked it up and then ran the numbers through renting out all of our rooms. And then it made sense. So then we're like, all right, let's just send it.
Yeah, we started writing a bunch of countries on the board, and it was kind of stupid because we started off in Italy and then we went to Asia. So we started off in Italy, we were there for a month, Amalfi Coast, and then we went to Bangkok for a month. Was it 2 months?
I think so.
Yeah, 2 months. And then we saw you guys in Bangkok, which was awesome.
That was great.
Yeah,
that was amazing.
One of the funnest times in my life. I think.
Yeah, same.
I will say, I think when you said you wrote on the whiteboard, I think that was the beginning of us starting to copy everything you do.
Yeah, basically.
No, we copied you. Yeah, you traveled first. You traveled everywhere.
Actually, that's true. That's also a big thing was the Apple TV, and you were already traveling.
Yeah, Greg had this globe with a bunch of pins
Oh,
in it.
yeah.
And then every time we'd look at it, we're like, what the fuck? You've been there? Yeah, it was inspiring.
Oh.
And you'd call us, you're like, I'm in Italy.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Or something or like Greece or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we saw, I remember that. I think we talked about it in our last video. It's we saw those list of countries and cities, and we're like, we have to do that too.
Yeah, we were we needed to.
Okay, so you guys leave. Okay, hold on. You have okay, actually, let's talk a little bit about, because we were just going through some of this property management drama earlier.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's something people kind of don't appreciate, because you guys are experience now, right? But
Yeah.
I think there's a non-zero level of stress and effort involved, right?
Yeah.
Like we kind of breezed over that entire thing, but like buying a house and like furnishing it, getting it listed, screening tenants, getting tenants in, that's a whole fucking process,
Yeah.
which we have a video about, so you can watch that.
That's true.
But like, how did you guys were like, oh yeah, we just got tenants and stuff, but like, how did you guys actually get into the mindset of like, let's go fill this room and let's go get tenants and like, let's set it up? Like, how did you go through that whole process? Did you guys have like experience, or did you kind of like wing it? Like, how did that whole thing happen?
I think there was, we have a good friend, Eric, in Las Vegas, who does like the house hacking as well. And he rents the rooms out like room by room. And we were planning on doing that. And yeah, we ended up just going on this site called Roomies and ended up finding tenants. And yeah, we couldn't really just leave the house empty, before we left. So yeah, so we ended up filling it before we left.
Oh.
Yeah. Also, like I worked in property management for like
Oh,
2 years, and like I just remember like doing a lot of like the property management stuff for like, I think it was at one point like 20 HOAs or something like that at my job, like solo at the age of like 23. I think I was the youngest property manager at my company in the history of the company. So also had like some experience with the property management stuff, and I knew that also we would be able to do it remotely if we structured it right. So we like prepared for that. That's why we like got like smart locks that you can unlock from like literally we've unlocked it from like Bali before. We got cameras on the side of the house. That way when vendors come through, we can confirm that they came through. If anyone says, hey, someone tried to break in, we have it on camera. So we did a lot of things to lay down the groundwork, but ultimately we just knew that we're gonna leave. We don't want to just have the house sit there and be useless. And we also didn't want to get storage for the furniture, which so nicely fits our house because we just like went all out.
Yeah.
So it was like the most efficient move and ended up being like the best yielding move in terms of renting out the property as well.
Yeah.
Interesting.
all right. So where is WG at this point before you take off to the world? Like what's happening? How many, do you guys have a team already? Do you guys have like a product? Like what's happening right now with WG when you guys go to Italy?
Yeah, at this point we had a team of 5. So we had 2 script writers, 2 media people, 2 editors, and then 1 social media person.
Okay.
And we were just fucking burning money. Like we were not making any money whatsoever. We made a little bit from AdSense, so we got monetized, made some money from AdSense, but we knew that we had to pivot. So
What was so you had a team, but like the goal was still like, hey, let's try to monetize and grow a YouTube channel and make money through that. That was the plan at the time.
yeah,
Okay. Wow. All right, so that's happening. You guys are traveling the world, burning money.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we would spend a month in each place, and we were still recording videos because it was like a faceless channel. So we brought the mic, and then we would just record. I think like 2 to 3 videos a week. Like it was like
Wow, that's
yeah,
a
it was a
lot.
lot.
This is where it starts to get crazy for me because I don't think we can appreciate this, right?
Yeah.
Like you guys are traveling the world, burning money,
Yeah,
right? And what seems at the time to have no results, right? In a way, right? Like of course you're outputting videos, but like you're getting like hundreds of dollars maybe in return of AdSense, right?
Yeah.
Like I can't even imagine going through that mindset, you know?
yeah.
How was that? Like were you just like, oh cool, we're traveling the world, we're trying to figure this out? Like what was the mindset at that point in time?
Yeah, it was definitely tough. Like we knew that something had to change,
Yeah.
and I don't remember the exact point we pivoted, but you wanna?
Yeah, I know we pivoted when we were end of the Thailand trip and then into Bali. I think personally for me, it was like, I just knew that, okay, well, technically we have enough runway for about 2 years. And if we went to break glass emergency, conserve all resources mode, we could have stretched it out for 4 or 5 years. So
Wow.
we were prepared to,
That's a long
like,
time.
I know, like, we were prepared to slug it out for 5 years.
You mean
Wow.
burn at the rate you were burning?
Yeah.
But you had enough savings to burn that.
Yeah, so we had enough savings to run, very comfortably for about 2 years. And then not so comfortably, we could have extended it for about 4 or 5 years.
I think
Wow,
this
it's
is
a lot
actually
longer
an
than I
important
thought, yeah.
point because I think this kind of goes into, I self-realized this when I left my 9 to 5, right? Where it's like, as long as you're willing to live a lifestyle you're living, right? Like, I mean, we live pretty frugally, right? Like you don't need that much to eat decently, to live decently, to travel decently. I think people are so focused on like what they think they need to be living. Like I need these many cars and I need this big of a house or I need this kind of furniture.
Yeah.
But I think for all of us, I think we realize, oh, why don't we just like live minimally and delay the gratification?
Yeah.
Right. And to me, I'm just like, yeah, like if I have to live like this for 2 to 5 years with the idea that it will exponentially grow, then I'm okay with that trade.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. Also, I'll say like living in like Bangkok off, you know,
Yeah,
$1,400
it's
a
true.
month, even $1,500
It's
a
true.
month, you're balling.
Yeah,
You've got
definitely.
your food gets made, your apartment can get cleaned.
Yep.
You live in a high-rise building with an infinity pool, gym. You have access to everything that you could ever
Yeah,
need.
yeah.
You don't worry about Ubers or Grabs, right?
Yeah.
So we were living good too. So I was like, oh, I could easily do this 5 more years, like easily, you know.
Yeah.
I will say something that meant a lot to me and maybe Kayla as well is that I think at this point we were 1 or 2 months into our 5-month journey.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that is missing though is an element of home, right? And
Yeah.
I think I saw it in your eyes too, but I'm gonna just speak for you guys as well. But
Yeah.
when we got to Bangkok and we first had the first meal together,
Yeah.
it was so like comforting to see familiar
Yeah.
faces.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You know,
I
'cause-
remember that.
And you guys were out for like 2 months at this point, I think already too.
Yeah.
So I think that was a really cool thing that we were able to experience that moment together.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. I
Yeah.
remember that. We had that really overpriced calamari and the
good.
drinks. It was so worth it though.
That's
That was
it.
so awesome. Okay, so you guys are traveling the world. You guys are making your pivot. You're now in Southeast Asia. So walk us through kind of, how that pivot kind of came into real life. From an idea and how you guys managed to do that while moving like every single month, which is crazy.
Yeah, it was kind of hard because when you're traveling and like building a business, there's a bunch of start stops, so you end up losing momentum. So all the momentum that you gained in that month, you just like lose it because you have to figure out, okay, let me go to the next place. So we had like I think it was 8 places, like 8 different countries that we had planned for the year.
Yeah.
So we would gain momentum and then lose it, and then gain momentum and then lose it. But in Bali, I think I don't actually remember how we made the pivot, but we did end up getting our first client in Bali.
Yeah.
Wow.
You remember how?
What
Yeah.
inspired you to pivot?
I think it was a couple of things. I think the first thing was we actually did some work for your friend Thomas. He was looking for a VA. And then we interviewed, I think, several of them. And then one of them was like, yeah, my minimum is XYZ amount of dollars per month. They're like, your minimum is that much per month? I was like, what the heck? And then the other thing was, obviously, I think we were watching Iman at the point, and he was mentioning that model. And then funny enough, I think that girl was in the same model. And then we were also thinking, okay, like this is not working. Do we slug it out for 2 more years in this model and pull it through? Is this, even if it does succeed, is this what we want to do when it succeeds, right? We're looking at the tasks that we're doing. Ultimately, we didn't really like script writing that much. And we're kind of like, okay, we should probably pivot. We kind of don't want to lay off anyone. And we also have this skill set now from building this channel. Is there any way we can take this previous experience and utilize it into the pivot? And then that's how we pivoted to ultimately the agency business model with, a focus on YouTube actually. So that way we're able to keep everyone that we had. All of the knowledge that they learned was applicable into the next business. We pivoted into a much more efficient model, and we didn't have to sell anything because with YouTube, essentially, in order to monetize, you either have to do affiliates or sell something, and we didn't want to do either. We tested both. We even did a Patreon. Shouts out Greg for being. I think you were one of our first Patreons.
I was there to the end, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, I was still
Yeah.
paying when I knew you guys were not.
Yeah.
Like, do they know that they're still charging their fee?
Yeah.
There's no big deal.
Yeah, so that's what we did for the pivot. We, it was the model. Even if it succeeded, it was not what we would have wanted. So we pivoted into a model that we thought would be better.
So that's cool, the pivot, and I think there's a lot of cool lessons here. There's a lot of subtleties in entrepreneurship that people actually don't understand or appreciate unless you're in it. And one of which is this, like, you're like, oh, how did you make the pivot? Well, like your friend Thomas, and like we saw this person doing this and we saw this thing, like, and then we pivoted to something because of these reasons. And really, I think entrepreneurship is really a culmination of all of your past experiences, right? Because the reason why what you pivoted to leveraged everything in the past, right?
Yeah.
And also part of why you would not have made that pivot if, for example, like you didn't know me, and if I didn't know Thomas, and if Thomas didn't connect with you, like it's a really cool like path, I think, where like a lot of things coincide with each other to move forward.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's super cool to me in entrepreneurship.
Yeah, yeah. And also to touch on that too, I think it also did coincide with what we learned from our mentor in Vegas too.
Yeah.
He was actually doing something kind of similar. So it was really like all of that combined. Plus, I think the model that we were doing was like not the best, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially for our skill sets. So yeah.
Wow. What was the feeling of getting that first client like? First recurring payment?
It was amazing. It was
Yeah.
it was awesome. It was very unorthodox because it was like we got him through a cold email.
Wow.
And we've never
Cold
gotten
email.
yeah. And we've never gotten any clients from a cold email since.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's crazy.
Yeah, so he ended up just and he's still with us.
Wow.
He's still with us. Yeah.
Shout out.
Another parallel from The Alchemist, right?
Yeah.
They talk about like beginner's luck or something, right?
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
like
that's right.
the universe conspires for you to achieve your personal journey
Yeah,
or
yeah,
personal legend.
Yeah.
And if it means like beginner's luck to get you there, get going, then so be it. Okay, so we're 2022 now, I think.
Yes.
I think we're now in like summer of 2022
Yeah.
because we did Bangkok like March, I think.
Yeah.
March. Remember? Anyway,
Yeah.
springish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys are pivoting. You get one client. You're in Bali. What happens next? You guys start to hone in on this pivot, right?
Yeah.
And I think you're still traveling at this point. So you're in Bali.
Yeah, what was the next country?
We did, after Bali, I think it was Malaysia.
Oh yeah, Malaysia.
I
And then you had to go back
Yeah,
to the day.
US.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh,
we went to
gosh.
Malaysia and Singapore and we were there for like a month. So
Yeah.
we were just building there. But I think we went to the Philippines after and that's when we started trying to get more clients.
Yeah.
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 Wow.
Are you guys profitable at this point yet, or
No,
No.
it was
like
it was
on a
long
month-to-month
way.
basis? Not even month-to-month.
No.
So you're still negative, and you're negative, because you're spending on the team and maybe like software or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have like one client, but that's not paying for that deficit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did anything change between then and when you start to hit profitability or break even? Like, or you just kept grinding, or?
Yeah, we just kept swinging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kept swinging.
Yeah, I also think when we got that first client, we were still doing the Faceless YouTube channel. And essentially, the last part of the year was really us, okay, do we fully transition out? Like, are we fully committing to transitioning? And we started slowly transitioning. And then the model was, we really liked the model. So that last half of the year was us transitioning. And then eventually the Philippines happened, where I went back to the US to get the Rancho house. And then essentially when we came back, we went to the Philippines. Was it the Philippines or was that before? Was that
Yeah.
after?
We almost died in the
World-
Philippines.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, but the last part of the year was we really just committed. We're like, okay, this is the model. Cold email is probably not the way. Let's, people always say that we talk well, so maybe we should speak with people on the phone. So then we tried that, and that did pretty well.
How many cold emails did you send before? What? How many and how long were you doing that for?
I think like at least 100.
Okay.
Yeah. So it wasn't a lot.
I'd
was
say
it
we
more?
probably combined. I think it was probably between 300 to 500.
Wow.
Oh yeah, a few hundred.
That's
Yeah.
Are these like copy paste?
We'll copy like custom.
Yeah.
So we would like do like blocks of 25. So we'd be like, okay, let's hit 25 emails this hour each. And then we do that, and then we go, okay, 25 more, and then like we do that over like the span of like many months. And yeah, it just wasn't converting. The return on effort was low. So we thought, everyone, like you have experience talking to people, I have a lot of experience talking to people, so we're like, we should just talk to people.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then that ended up doing better than email.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so you two are both in business. You've got a team now. I think something that we've always wondered between the two of us is how did you guys figure out the split between, okay, Chris is doing this, Paolo is doing this is what you're taking over. Was that something, again, that you did consciously, or was that something where you kind of just took your best strengths and kind of allocated the task that way?
Yeah, I think we're still continuing to like figure it out, like right now, like how we divide the tasks. Because in the beginning, we both just did everything, so we
Yeah.
both knew every single position. So if one of us like was out, if one of us like ended up being sick, then the other person knows how to do the position. So now we both know how to do every position. And then there are some things that Chris is really good at, like finances, like so he's the CFO. And then some things that I was like pretty good at, just talking to like our employees and doing hiring. So
Yeah.
I'm like human resources and hiring. So
Awesome.
yeah, so we kind of just took our strengths and weaknesses and then figured out like which ones
Wow.
would be,
Yeah.
which positions would best fit.
Nice.
Also, shouts out to Emit.
Oh yeah, E-Myth.
Oh,
yeah,
that's a great
changed
book.
our-
That's a great book.
Visited
Yeah.
so good.
Is it the pie maker?
The pie maker.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I actually think that's still something that we focus on till this day.
Yeah.
Is like, this is something that we've really been, going through our brains, is like, we don't both need to do everything at the same, like once. Like this does not need both of us.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning, you don't even know what you're doing. So we're like, oh, let's just both do this then, right?
Yeah.
And then you get in that habit, and then eventually you get to the future, we're like, okay, this is a low level call. We don't both need to be on this call. Like this is a very low level task. Or like if it's like a low level, like a teammate has a question about this, like we don't both need to talk about answering this low level thing, right?
Interesting.
On the big things, like if it's a really big thing, okay, we both need to talk about this. But if it's
Yeah.
low level, like should this be black or pink? I don't need to think about that. You can
Yeah.
answer, so
Yeah.
that's something that we're actually working on to this day, is really dividing that task out and be like, okay, I trust you, just make a decision, right?
Yeah.
If it's like the company depends on this, okay, let's talk about it, right? But if it's like it doesn't really matter, then like we don't both need to do it, because I think that was one thing that we both did everything, so we both learned. But at a certain point, I think it actually hurts you because there's two of us.
Yeah.
So we should actually divide and conquer. You're better at some things, I'm better at some things. We should just divide that instead
Yeah.
of us both doing it. Like, yeah, I think that's something.
We're
Yeah.
going through it. Well, I guess we've been going through a similar thing. I think I share the same perspective where in the beginning, it's essential that we both do everything,
Yeah.
because then we understand the fundamentals of the model that we're putting together.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I think as you get further, I think we're actually doing a different approach. I think we are still there are some things that we're split on now, but I think our approach is now not splitting the two of us, but actually bringing in more people to take the task that we don't want to do. Because I always envision us as not the pie makers, right? And not even in fact be part of the business directly. Because as you know, right, I think the long game is like owning a bunch of businesses or starting a bunch of businesses.
Yeah.
So we're trying to carve out the company such that we eventually don't have to be part of the company. If that makes sense.
Like putting the right pieces together. So
Exactly,
If you were to make
exactly.
an exit, it's like run by itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think of like Alex and Layla Hormozy. Like I think Layla runs the company, but Alex is like more of the strategist maybe, and like also thinking about stuff outside of like the next business. And I'm guessing that's what happened with like Gym Launch and then like their supplement thing and their software. So anyway, okay, so so at some point we get to profitability, right, on a month-to-month basis.
Yeah.
So let's get there, and then I guess getting out of that hole that you dug for like a year, I guess, right, and running in the red.
Yeah. So we were in the Philippines for a few months. We actually met our team in person, which is
Oh, that's
super
cool.
cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
You take them out.
Yeah, we took them out to this place, BGC.
Yeah.
It's like in Manila.
Oh, yeah.
It's really nice. Had a nice dinner, and we've been working with them at that point for
Yeah.
like over a year.
A year?
Yeah,
Okay.
so it was nice, like
Wow. That's
actually
super
meeting
cool.
them. Yeah, meeting them in like person, and I feel like the morale definitely like went up. Like actually just meeting them in person.
It's real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was,
That's super cool.
It was awesome. Yeah, and after that we ended up going to Japan, and we were still making like cold calls, and ended up closing a few more clients, and started picking up some momentum. And I think after was Korea, and then Korea is when we actually hit profitability.
Wow.
On
Yeah.
the month,
Wait.
profitability on month to month.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
recap, I think we did Korea first, then Japan.
Oh yeah, Korea
Yeah.
first.
You think
Oh,
Korea
that's
Because
right.
there was
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
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 I remember.
That's right.
Remember? Okay, so during COVID, just to give the audience context, there's a lot of countries that were just super strict about regulation. I remember you guys telling us on a call, we're going to Japan. And I think I remember like reading a Reddit thing where it's like, Japan is not open to anybody, basically. And I was like, I don't think they're going to Japan.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you
I
ended
do
up in
remember.
Korea.
I do remember us being like, "Yeah, we're going to Japan." And you're like, "Is Japan open?" And we're like,
like,
"I don't know. Actually, I hope it is."
You might want to double check that.
Yeah,
We actually booked flights to Japan.
Yeah, we booked flights to Japan, and we had a layover in Seoul.
Yeah.
And then when we're in Seoul, they're like, "You can't get in Japan."
How did they even like allow you to book the Japan flight?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Bro, I don't know.
I guess they just don't give a fuck. They're like, you know what? You could book
Run
it,
it
but
up.
we're not gonna let you
You
in.
can get into Japan, but you have to do this like weird tourist package where
yeah.
you go there, you go to like a specific
Oh.
hotel, you go with a
I see.
specific tour group, and then like every single day is planned.
That's
Obviously,
crazy.
Like
Yeah.
we're not trying to do that,
No.
so that's why I think
This is actually another thing that I'm still trying to get better at and I struggle with. it's like a weird like dilemma for me because like I don't know if I agree completely with it, but I do, and I'm trying. It's like a mind shift for me. But basically, you guys are very good about adapting to the situation and going with the flow, and I'm more like we need to plan, or at the very least understand what the situation is going to be, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know which is the right camp because like in this situation, you're like, yeah, we're gonna go to Japan, and like you literally hop onto the first leg of the flight thinking you're gonna go to Japan, and then you get to Korea where it's like the layover. You're like, well, I guess we're just staying in Korea, you know? And like I don't think I handled that as well nowadays, but that's another thing you guys inspired me to be better at, right? Taking more risk and like being more malleable, I guess, to situations.
Yeah. So walk us through Korea then, and this pivotal point in your guys' business where you gain profitability. Tell us what that moment was like, and what was kind of like the next thing after it.
Yeah, so we were in Korea because we couldn't get into Japan. Yeah, so we were in Korea. We ended up in Seoul for a few days. So we got an Airbnb because I remember being at the airport and we're like, oh shit, where are we gonna stay?
Oh fuck.
So we ended up just booking Airbnb in Seoul for 3 days, and then we picked 2 places, Daegu and Okpo, which are both really amazing places. Would highly recommend in South Korea. So in Daegu, I think we picked up a ton of momentum in Daegu. Like we had our schedule dialed in. We were going to the gym. We were making a bunch of calls. I think at this point we bought Iman Godse's agency navigator. So we were going through the course, and then we were watching a bunch of like the videos on the course, and we were just refining like our skill sets.
Wait, you guys were doing the agency model before watching Agency Navigator?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you bought it, you're like, oh shit, this is kind of working, let's actually learn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's commit more to it.
Yeah, so we ended up, I think we closed I don't remember where it was. It was like in Daegu or...
Yeah, we closed one.
Oh, on the way. So it was in the midpoint between...
Two. We
Daegu
closed
and
2
Okpo.
clients.
Yeah.
And you knew that, after we close this client, it's going to be break even or,
Yeah.
something, or profitable
Yeah.
or something.
And I'll say this: we went hard in Daegu. Actually, we went like 7 days a week. We were hitting the gym all the time, or like we'd hit the gym at least once a day, because we literally just wake up, sit down, rip, and then like maybe 4 or 5 hours, maybe 6 hours later, we'd hit the gym, and then come back and then just rip and then go to sleep. And then we
How
just
many-
did that 7 days a week.
How many hours a day would you say you work?
I mean, if we're talking like not so like shallow, like because we didn't know deep work back then. Funny enough, that's right around when we were discovering it. I think we were really doing about like in terms of shallow, I'd say like at least 10 hours.
Okay.
Probably like 10 to
Right.
14, because
Something
you're
like
always like really thinking about it
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
But
Okay.
yeah, we were going pretty hard.
So you closed, I don't know, whatever number client that
2
was.
clients.
And then you're like, shit, we're break even now or slightly profitable, right?
Almost. We had one more client that we had to close.
Oh jeez.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you closed them?
Yeah, one
Yeah.
in Okpo, which
Okay.
love Okpo actually. Okpo is super dope.
Yeah.
I would go back
Yeah.
again.
It was-
Did you guys celebrate? Did you guys jump up and down? Like, what was like the celebration, if any,
Yeah.
when
It
you broke even?
Yeah, it was like the best. It was one of the best feelings in the world. Because
Yeah.
we're like, holy shit! Like we've been dumping money into this business for like
Yeah.
a long time, like over a year at this point, and it wasn't making
A whole year.
any money. Yeah, it wasn't making
Yeah.
any money.
I think 13 months.
Yeah,
was
13 months.
Holy
Wow.
fuck.
Breaking
Yeah.
on cash flow.
Yeah,
Even on return on
Yeah,
cash
you're still not even at this point break even on
Yeah.
on initial investments.
flow.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we were, I think we were doing like a 24-hour fast at that point. So we were fasting, and then we closed our last client that we needed in order to break even.
Yeah.
And then we had our victory meal, and it was like
Yeah.
one of the best tasting meals
Yeah.
we've ever
That's
had.
amazing.
It was in Okpo. It was
What
like
was
this,
it?
It was like this barbecue, like it was this barbecue place. We had like mac and cheese, and like it was really good.
Nice.
Like,
Yeah.
ribs.
That's
really
cool.
good barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Wow.
year were we? We're still 2022?
Two.
We're still
Yeah.
20, damn, where was okay.
I know.
So here's the cool part, right? We're 20. Do you remember what month?
That was probably around November.
Okay, so November.
Actually,
Okay, so
November, October.
okay, so this is a year and 4 months ago ish, right?
Yeah.
So here's the cool part that if the audience wants to extrapolate. A year and 4 months ago, you guys broke even, right? So you can extrapolate where you are now from then, because 12 months before then, you guys were like zero basically. You're like
Yeah.
like right like 2 to 3 years ago, you were like just starting and you realized we're going down.
Yeah.
And then like now you're starting to climb up, right? So I think this kind of gets to the exciting part of the story, right? Because it's starting to be like, okay, it's working, like we're at least profitable, we can like pay for ourselves. So I guess bring us from that point to, I guess, today, right?
Yeah.
Like what happens in the next fucking 12 months or
What's
something?
growth like?
Yeah, so we ended up, I think after our trip, we ended up going to a few more places. What was it? It was Japan, right?
Yeah, we
And-
went to Japan, finished out the year in Japan,
Yeah.
which was dope. Japan's dope.
Then ended up going back to the Bay Area.
Oh, for Christmas.
Yeah, for Christmas. And then we're in the Bay Area for Christmas, and we didn't have a home. We're like, oh shit, we rented out our house.
Yeah.
So I think we needed to find like a place to go and just
Yeah.
grind out for a year, and ended up choosing like Tucson. It was,
Yeah, we ended up choosing Tucson. Did about 5 minutes of due diligence and then found a spot. And
Wait, okay,
yeah.
so wait, there was thought process between going from LA to Vegas.
yeah.
I know you said 5 minutes, but like, was there a like, why not another house in Vegas, another apartment in Vegas? Like, why somewhere outside of Vegas at the time?
Yeah, we were thinking about doing other states, but essentially the reason we chose Arizona was it was near enough to the Vegas house and California that we could drive, and also on top of that, we had recently gotten a dog, a new dog. Shouts out Luna.
Shout out Luna.
So we just got a dog, and we were considering doing Vegas, but it all comes back to the fact that we have no willpower, and we have Vegas has a lot of things. Number one, food. There's a lot of parties. I'll just leave it at there's a lot of parties in Vegas. There's a lot of temptation, and we were trying to avoid that and live like monks, obviously, and just focus on the business, because the one thing, and you guys I think have seen this with the business, is it requires such a consistent level of high focus.
Yeah.
And whenever you just deviate from that, it immediately like damages the
Yeah.
business, especially in the beginning when you don't have the systems and you don't have the people and you actually work in the business. So we're just like, and I think that's one of the main things with business is it's not like a job, right? Where you can be, oh, I'm gonna take off 2 weeks. It's gonna be chill. I'm gonna get the same amount of money, do the same amount of thing when I come back, right? With the business, like in the beginning, if you take off 2 weeks, it's low key like it's fucked, right? You come back, it's like in shambles. Everyone's mad. Your team's like, oh, I don't know what to do,
Yeah.
And then so I feel like that's one of the weird things about business is it requires such a high level of focus consistently over long periods of time, and I think that's like really challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so question. Why should someone get into business then? If it sounds like it's, a difficult process, you have to have a lot of grit, a lot of hustle.
Yeah.
Why did you guys get into business in the first place? Other than obviously getting out of the 9 to 5 and trying something new, but like what was the motivation really?
Yeah, I think ever since, I can speak for both of us. I think ever since we were younger, we always wanted to be in business
Yeah.
and just become really, really wealthy at a young age.
Yeah.
And I personally, I never liked having a boss. I think I was always like a good employee, but I didn't like a boss telling me what to do. I think that was always like a big like pet peeve. So I think going into business was just the best step.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just feel like we're both like very ambitious, like with our goals, and have a very high risk tolerance. And I think business kind of coincides with that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Nice.
The willpower thing really fascinates me because it actually works in your favor in the positive side, right? Because like you guys are so disciplined, you guys are focused, but then you guys are saying that you don't have the willpower when it comes to like vices and like parties and distractions.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's kind of ironic.
Yeah, it is. It's very like, and it's not like we have friends like, shouts out Eric. Eric has discipline where he can be like, I should not do this. I will not do this. That is not us. So ours is more like we should not do that. We should add as much friction and distance between that and us as possible. It's just so much easier for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, to touch on your point, I actually wouldn't recommend the entrepreneurial journey. In fact, I would say for 85, 90% of people, my number one recommendation is get into fucking tech. And whatever you do, just get into fucking tech. And I think business only really matters if like you're kind of wired for it, or if you really are up for like a challenge, you want to go on a journey. That's why like if you look at the outcomes and you're like, that doesn't sound fun, I want to be the baker, then probably don't really do. I mean, the baker is a business person, but I'd recommend getting into tech. But I think being an entrepreneur is fun because upside is uncapped, and you also like it makes the game more fun because like I like not knowing what's gonna happen. You know, it's like watching a movie, but
Yeah.
it's just you. You know,
You're the main character.
You're the main character.
You guys are the main characters, literally. So.
I agree. Not everyone should get into business. I
Yeah.
don't think everyone like.
Yeah,
It's very like it's ruthless sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially the first year.
Yeah.
Like at least if you are gonna go into the business, at least have proper expectations.
Yeah.
That the first year you're probably like not gonna make as much money as you think.
Yeah.
Because we thought we were gonna like just oh yeah, we're gonna start a business and just make millions.
It's
But,
out the gates.
yeah.
What is it though? Like they say, like I mean, you guys know the stats better than we do, but how many businesses fail?
I think it's like 50%
Yeah.
fail like within like 3 to 5 years or something like that, or like
Yeah.
90% or something. Like I don't know. It's like it's pretty high.
Yeah.
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 I think what you said too resonated with me, where it's like it's not for, like either make sure you know what to expect,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're willing to go on the journey,
Yeah.
right? Because I basically had a cush job,
Mm-hmm.
and now I make 10 times less, but I actually would say like I'm more fulfilled now
Mm-hmm.
because of the challenges that are involved with figuring this out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think people need that kind of challenge. Not everyone needs that challenge. Just saying. But
Yeah.
I think those who are wired for it definitely are. On that note too, like, what is something getting into the business that you kind of wish, future Chris and Paolo were able to tell you in the past, like when you first started? Is there any piece of advice that you wish you would have heard or kind of would have hoped for?
I think let's hear.
Yeah, I think like the main advice is just track more
yeah.
things faster.
Yeah.
Track everything that matters. I think that's the main thing. That's one of the biggest things that we've really developed over like the last year and a half is like just tracking everything that matters. The other thing is like that I would say is for young Chris and Paulo is just I wish I could give myself a list of like 24 books. Like at this point we've read like over 100 books for sure, maybe like 150 books. Like I wish I could just give myself here's 25 that like really matter. Read these.
Yeah.
Like I think that would have saved me so much time
Wow.
personally.
I think actually reading deep work, from the very beginning, reading deep work and reading E-Myth Revisited, I think those two were probably one of the most impactful books. And Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
I think those are like some of the best books. Yeah, and also just like learning how you operate, learning like what stresses you out, and like learning which vices to cut off, because I think recently we've just been cutting like everything off, like all vices. Like this year we gave up a lot. We gave up,
List them out, please. Yeah.
so we gave up drinking. We gave up drinking.
Okay, yeah.
We gave up nicotine.
Yeah.
So like cigars, we gave up cigars. We give up
Yeah.
the pursuit of women, and we're in an abstinence period where
Wow.
it's just
Yeah.
one full year of just
Monk.
monk mode.
Monk
yeah.
mode.
Yeah.
So a full year. Because we're in Okinawa one day and we're like, you know what? Let's give it one full year of
Yeah.
nothing, like no alcohol, no like cigars, just basically like no fun, I guess, and just focusing deep work on the business, and I think that would get us a lot closer to our goals.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right, so we get to Tucson.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This is 12 months ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know this because this is the beginning of our journey. Sorry, our entrepreneurial journey.
Yes.
And I remember we visited you guys, and you guys had your living room with your whiteboard. And again, this is another one of those we have to do this moment.
Yeah,
Right?
definitely.
12 months before that, we saw the countries, and we're like, we gotta travel. So we traveled, and then we saw the whiteboard, and we went home like that weekend, and we basically
Yeah,
that's where
literally.
we started our tournament bracket.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're Tucson, and you're there for like 12 months or something. Like, what's
Yeah.
you guys are like, fuck this, we're gonna just post up and like grind, right?
Yeah.
Is,
Yeah.
That, is that the ideal there?
Yeah, Tucson was definitely the trenches, and Tucson is it's a charming place, but it's not like super fun.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a bunch of like dopamine around. It wasn't like Las Vegas, where it was just like, at least for us, like there was like a lot of like temptation in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that kind of fit what you're looking for.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it fit exactly what we're looking for. I think when we came in, I think it was January. I think we only had like 5 clients, and then yeah, we ended up just cold calling our way into, or how much do we have? I think
We had like 19, 20-ish at the end of the year.
What? Wait, you went
Yeah.
from
Dang.
5 at the
5 at the
beginning
beginning.
of last
Yeah.
year to 19 or 20.
Yeah.
Oh wait, like a few months ago. Yeah, right. I forget.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's like 5. It's like about one client a month on average. Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
you lose clients along the way as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yes.
I guess we could ask like, when you lost your first client, like how did that feel? Like, was that like, holy shit, this happened, or like, did you know that you would be losing clients as part of the model?
Yeah, it was. There were some clients where I didn't really feel as bad, but some
Yeah.
clients were really hurt. I was
Yeah.
like, damn. Like,
Yeah.
I think we could have kept them if we were better.
Yeah.
Or I think we could have kept them if we were if we knew what we knew now.
Yeah.
But it's kind of just like growing pains with the
Exactly.
business. You know, there's like churn. Like you're gonna lose clients. It comes with the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. So I guess that fast forwards us to today, right? You guys
Yeah, right.
have X amount of clients.
Yeah.
You guys are obviously on a month-to-month basis positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys out of your initial investment or initial principal hole?
Yeah, technically, I'd say we're definitely positive now, especially if you factor in the magic business
yes.
valuation, right? But yeah, we're definitely positive now. You know, it's trending very well. I think right now we're at like 26 clients, 26, 27, which shouts out. We actually just closed, I think how many this month? Like 8?
Bro,
Insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
that's crazy. Especially,
Yeah.
I mean, because we can appreciate because we kind of have a similar model.
Yeah.
But you guys, I mean, right? You guys had before this month, you had was it 18?
19 before we were in Cape Town, right?
Yeah, before we were in Cape Town, we were at 19.
So almost like you grew basically by like 40 to 50% in like the span of 1 month.
Yeah. So
That's crazy.
it's just crazy to see how it compounds, and also shouts out the startup J Curve. That was such a good book. They talk
Shout
about
out,
that.
Shout out.
Dips first, then goes up.
I like how we're
Yeah.
shouting out books.
Yeah. Love that book though. Love that book. Yeah, so I think the business is doing pretty good. It's growing. We have a lot more capital to reinvest. We can pay ourselves a livable wage, and then a little extra on top, and yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Cool.
No, it's been really incredible to see your guys' journey from afar. We have our weekly YOLO sesh that I hope we continue after our Hustle House, but even seeing the progression after this last month has been fascinating. Just seeing how you guys operate with your team, with each other. What do you think though is going to be some of the biggest challenges upcoming within the next year that you think you guys are going to have to face?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges is probably hiring like A players and just figuring out paid ads.
Yeah.
I think paid ads is going to be like
Yeah.
a big piece in scaling,
Yeah.
and also just hiring fast enough to just getting better at hiring, paid ads, and just like overall scaling. I think that's
Yeah.
For sure.
I'd say biggest challenge this year is just increasing the rate at which we acquire clients, and then things typically break when you put volume into them. So the increased rate of client acquisition is definitely going to break some of our systems. So then just rebuilding those systems, tweaking them, making them more robust so they can handle the volume. And then also like getting the business valued at the end of the year. That's going to be a big one. It is a little bit of a pricey item, but if it goes well, it'll be cool.
And then you can leverage that valuation into getting business equity.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
To like leverage if you guys want to do something else, right? Like,
Yeah.
your business is worth this much. And then you go to the bank, they're like, look, it's worth this much. Give me
Yeah.
money, tax-free money. by the
Exactly.
way.
Yeah.
So,
Either reinvest, borrow money from the bank if we want to, or, I don't even know what else we could do. We'll definitely become, hopefully, accredited investors, which would be dope. That's been a goal for a while. Also, if we get the business valued, a lot of childhood dreams will be accomplished. And the cool thing is, obviously, one big challenge is the real estate niche that we're in, that we work in. There is a little bit of something that's going on where it might be a little bit different, but I think we'll be able to work around that for sure. I think the biggest thing though is just staying focused and doing the things that we need to do. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those words.
yeah, those are good. You mentioned how many clients? You said 26 or something.
Yeah, 26.
How big is your team?
We have at least 15 people.
15
Yeah.
Okay, so this is cool, right? Like, I feel like people don't. I feel like we need to congratulate you guys a little more, right? Because
Absolutely.
2 years ago, it was just the two of you, basically, right? And over the span of time, you guys learned how to build a full company, right? I think something I've appreciated over the past year is like, okay, E-Myth, right? E-Myth, like, oh, if you want to be a baker and bake pies, that's like probably 5 to 10% of the business, right? The rest is running the business.
Yes.
And since then, you guys hired like 15 people. You're managing 26 clients. You got to figure out finances. You got to figure out growth. You got to figure out systems. And I think that's something that is super, super impressive. Because when Kayla and I go through any one of these things, like hiring a person, we're like, oh shit, like that's why Chris and Paolo did it this way,
yeah,
you know?
for sure.
Or like, when we try to figure out our pivot, we're like, oh fuck, man, this makes a lot of sense now why Chris and Paolo's model is like this. Because they leverage those things and they learn it. So like, it's really cool to appreciate that following your shadow basically, because we can appreciate what you've guys gone through because we're kind of going through it now.
Yeah.
And I kind of enjoy, I think that's one of the reasons why I was very comfortable starting this when I had Kayla. But two, I knew that we had you guys to follow because I think something very important in this journey, which I don't know if actually you guys had this, is a relevant mentor. Right? You know, shout out to like Thomas and Louie, like they're all, you know, living life.
Yeah.
Like, but they're kind of less relevant for us because they're so far ahead of us, you know?
Yes.
And you guys are like a year or two ahead of us, but still feel like you guys solved so many things that we haven't figured out yet. So I guess well, first of all, thank you.
Yes.
Second
Major
is-
thank you.
Yeah,
Did you
Major
guys-
thank you.
Yeah, you guys have helped too.
A lot of stuff. Yeah.
Did you guys have like that relevant mentor? Like how are you guys figuring
We
shit
had
out?
one, yeah, we had one in
Obviously,
Vegas.
you were
and
the OG.
Yeah, you were the OG. yeah.
What?
Greg taught us how to budget.
Budget.
No, seriously.
Travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, I mean like in the business though, right? Like figuring out like hiring and systems and like the business model and like all this, like, or did you just figure it out from like A/B testing?
I think a lot of it was like YouTube videos. Like we would just watch a bunch of like
That makes
YouTube
sense.
University.
Yeah.
And we did have a mentor in Vegas.
Yeah.
and I
Shouts
think
out. I don't know if he
Yeah.
wants us to say his name, but
that's
yeah.
up.
Yeah, you know who you are. You helped us. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I think that really broke the barrier in our brain where we're like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? He's making like millions online? Like, so
it
I
was
think,
ballin'.
so I think that kind of just broke our reality
Yeah.
when we first like
Yeah.
met him.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
This has been like an hour and 15 minutes, which is good. I think we can still go a little longer. I think I want to shout out to something that we've done in Cape Town recently. When we first got here, Paolo found like a cabinet of like games. And it's funny, the first night, it was like a 1,500 piece puzzle.
Oh
And we all started working on this, which Kayla basically finished over 3 weeks.
Because we were sick and had nothing better to do, which we did have better things to do, but we were procrastinating kind of.
But it's funny, we finished the puzzle a week or two ago,
Yeah.
and we also have Monopoly.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which was a mind fuck for me because like I remember playing Monopoly 20 years ago or something,
yeah,
and it hits so much differently now.
it does.
Now that we're like business owners, we understand real estate,
Yeah.
and like it was really fun, but really like high in emotion as well.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
it was really fascinating. I think Kayla pointed this out as well. The first night we played a few weeks ago, seeing our styles play, because you could really
Yes.
see how we all think and operate differently within our businesses.
Yes.
Like how we negotiated with each other, like who was like more passive, who was like watching things go. It was really, really fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, something that we always talk about between the two of us is I think we're all different people fundamentally in terms of personality. But I think there are, values that align all of us, goals that align all of us. And I think the most powerful thing for all four of us is that we're complementary in our own ways, which is amazing because it's one thing to find that in a friend or a partner, but it's amazing to find it in business partners and, by extension, friends who are also business partners, who also are, us two are in a relationship. So I think it's really cool to see, how we've been able to grow and how we've been able to complement each other in at least the last month and in the last few years. I'm really excited to see how you guys grow in the next couple of years and just who you'll become, basically. It's going to be very, very cool to see.
Yeah, we're excited to see you guys grow too. We've seen you guys grow from from the very beginning, and it's just it's been awesome to see. You know,
Yeah.
we're gonna all be in yachts and villas, within a few years.
The Polaroid you took, right? Is like we're on a boat or something.
It's why we're on a yacht right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Private jets,
Yeah.
villas, Lambos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see it, and yeah, it is cool seeing how we work together. And I'll say this, that is definitely a slept on upside of running a business is you can just like work with people that you like working with, right? In a company, you don't get the choice, and in fact, some of the times you don't like the people that you work with, right? I think when you work in business, and especially if you own your own business, it's cool because you get to work with people that you like working with, and also you have a lot more freedom to work when you want. Granted, you need to make sure that you do work, but you get to work, when you want, where you want, decide how hard you want to work, really, and yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, it is. I just remember, I remember one of the first times that I met you guys, and you guys were in flamenco. I think, Paolo, you were taking a hiring call, and you were wearing basketball shorts on the bottom and a blazer on the top, and you were about to take these interviews. And I just love that, all of us have come from a humble place. We've all kind of, in our own ways, I think, paid our dues, and I think that makes this bond a lot stronger between all of us. So
yeah,
it's interesting.
I still hire people in my basketball shorts.
You wear the blazer still? Or
No. Blazers, black shirt will do.
Yeah.
I think
awesome.
this is a cool episode because I've been waiting to record this to get the foundation of like where you guys started and where you are today. And I think maybe in a future podcast, I actually find our conversations more fascinating now, right?
Yeah.
Like this is kind of like the setup for the audience, right? But I like when we talk about business or like philosophy or like just goof around in the taxi.
God, reproduction.
Like I think that'll be a cool one for the next podcast. But
Yeah.
it's cool. Thanks for coming on to the Founders
Yes.
Forum
Yes.
on Gregory and Kayla.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Paolo and
Thank you.
Chris. You want to,
Yeah.
parting words.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us. I hope we all grow wise.
Oh.
Yeah, we all grow wise together. Oh, what? I hope we all grow our businesses together. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see what happens. Especially I like that you guys document this because I know Iman documented the beginning, and I'm telling you, I know we will be on a yacht, and
Yes,
everyone's
for
gonna be like, oh, they're on a yacht, they're flexing. But no, it's documented. We started
Trenches.
very humbly
Yeah.
and grew over time. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
To be fair, like that's one of my. We talked about chips on the shoulder. That's actually mine one too. Like, I want to be able to be like, yes, we went through it and we fucking made it. I think that's gonna be dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a big chip for sure.
Yeah.
Do you have any parting words, Paolo?
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys having us, and
Yeah.
looking forward to see the growth this upcoming year, and either next year or this year, Lambos and Bentley Bentayga.
Yeah.
Wait on it.
Yeah.
We'll make it rain.
Let's go. Let's go.
All right.
No, we
All
appreciate you guys.
That's
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah. Thank
Thanks
you
for coming on.
guys. Seriously.
All right.
All right.
That was a good one, guys.
Thank you.